I'm my mother's lawyer." Those 5 words froze the entire courtroom. Judge Harrison stopped mid-sentence, his gavel hovering in the air as he peered over his glasses. Before him stood a small boy, 9 years old, wearing oversized glasses, holding a school notebook instead of a legal file. The courtroom fell silent. "Excuse me," the judge said, trying not to laugh. "This is a legal hearing, young man. Only adults are allowed to speak." But the boy didn't flinch. "According to Article 12 of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child," he said steadily, "I have the right to express my opinion in any matter that affects my life. And this," he gestured to the courtroom, "definitely affects mine." His mother, Janet Thompson, looked at her son in disbelief. She had worked 2 jobs to keep their small apartment. Across the room, Robert Wellington, the millionaire who had abandoned them years ago, leaned back with a smirk. He had come to take full custody of the boy, his son, after ignoring him for nearly a decade. But no one expected this. "Your Honor," Robert's lawyer, Dr. Mitchell, interrupted. "This is highly irregular. The child has no legal capacity to speak in such proceedings." David turned to him calmly. "If you truly cared about my well-being, you'd let me talk, instead of trying to silence me." The judge leaned forward, intrigued. "All right, young man. You have the court's attention. What is it you wish to say?" David opened his notebook. Every page was filled with neat handwriting and sticky notes. "I've prepared a documented presentation on why I should stay with my mother and evidence of my father's real motives for this custody case." Robert's smirk disappeared. "What are you talking about?" David met his eyes. "You want custody because of Grandma Eleanor's trust fund, not because you love me." The courtroom gasped. Dr. Mitchell stood abruptly. "Objection, Your Honor. This is pure speculation from a child." "It's not speculation," David interrupted. "I found the documents at the public library. Grandma created a trust fund worth $1.7 million for my education and care, but only if you gained full custody. If not, it goes to me directly when I turn 18. Judge Harrison blinked in disbelief. "And you discovered this? How?" "The Central Library," David said proudly. "The head librarian, Ms. Rodriguez, taught me how to find court and estate records. Everything I'm saying is public information." Janet felt tears well in her eyes. For months, she had watched her son bury himself in books, thinking it was just schoolwork. She never imagined he was preparing for this. David continued, his tone steady but sharp. "In the last 9 years, my father showed up 4 times. Twice on birthdays, once on Christmas, and once when the media called him a philanthropic entrepreneur. He never called, never wrote. But 2 weeks after his company lost a major lawsuit, he suddenly wanted custody." Robert's face turned pale. "That's a lie." David flipped to another page. "Actually, no. Court records show Wellington Industries was sued by its partners last spring. You lost $2.3 million. You also filed for divorce last month. Then you applied for custody of me." The judge raised an eyebrow. "Mr. Wellington, is that accurate?" Dr. Mitchell tried to intervene, but Robert's silence said everything. David pressed on. "And there's something else." He reached into his backpack and pulled out a small voice recorder. "This is a conversation my father had 6 months ago when he visited us. He thought I was in my room doing homework." Janet gasped softly. "David." The judge motioned for him to continue. David pressed play. Robert's voice filled the courtroom. "Once I get custody, the boy's going straight to Riverside Military Academy. They'll keep him until he's 18. I'll have full access to the inheritance funds for his education. The rest is mine." Then another line, cold and calculated. "He's too smart for his own good. He asks questions. It's best to keep him out of the way until I settle the financial mess." The courtroom erupted in whispers. Robert jumped to his feet. "This is taken out of context. He's manipulating." "Sit down, Mr. Wellington." Judge Harrison thundered. Your own words are quite clear. David turned toward his father. You said I was too smart for my own good. Maybe that's true. But being smart isn't the problem, Dad. Being heartless is. Janet covered her mouth, tears streaming silently. The judge reviewed the evidence again, financial records, the trust fund clause, the recording. Mr. Wellington, he said sternly, this court finds overwhelming evidence that your custody claim is motivated by financial gain, not paternal care. David looked up, his voice steady but full of emotion. Your Honor, I didn't do this to punish him. I did it to protect my mom and myself. Every child deserves love, not manipulation. The gavel struck the desk. Custody is awarded to Ms. Janet Thompson. Furthermore, the court will open an investigation into potential trust fund fraud by Mr. Wellington. The courtroom broke into murmurs as Robert was escorted out, his once perfect suit now soaked in sweat. David calmly packed up his notebook and looked at the judge. Thank you for listening, Your Honor. Judge Harrison smiled softly. No, son. Thank you for reminding this courtroom that justice isn't about power. It's about truth. 3 years later, David sat on a television stage beside his mother. The host smiled at the now 12-year-old boy. David, how does it feel to be called the smartest kid in America? He adjusted his glasses, smiling modestly. I'd rather be known as the kid who proved every child has a voice. The audience erupted in applause. Janet wiped a tear as David continued. I used a library to save my family. Now I'm helping other kids learn about their rights too. Behind the applause and the cameras, the message was clear. No matter your age, background, or color, the truth will always find a way to win.